good. Well, thank you for having me today. I am Harper's daddy. Harper's sitting up front, if you don't know Harper. And she asked me if I could come in today to show you some of our new baby snakes. Because we have a couple of pet snakes at home. And this last summer, in June, our snakes, one of our snakes had babies. And we wanted to show you the babies. And I also brought the daddy snake in today to show you as well what the adults look like too. But there are 3 snakes in here. Hopefully you can see them okay. Let me try to position this. So you can see.
We have 2.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, so the snakes are all on this piece of wood here. Now, they're laying down. And there's 3 different snakes. There's actually 2 of them right here. Hard to see this one's head. There's his head. Yeah. And then here's this one's other head. There's another head right there. And then I think you can see this one right here. Now the interesting thing about these snakes when they're born is that they come out orange. Like this color right here. That's the color that they're born. But the adults are green. They're bright green. And as the snakes get older, when they're about 8 to 12 months old, they start to turn green. So just in the last 2 weeks, these 2 snakes over here, these 2 babies are starting to turn green. But this one right here still hasn't started to turn green yet. She's still orange. And all 3 of these babies are girls. They're all little girls. We have lots of girls in our house. Yeah, there's a special test they have to do to be able to tell. You can't tell just by looking at them. Yes, but I went to the vet. The vet told me that they're all 3 of these are girls.
And in your bag you have daddy or mommy?
What's that?
In
In the bag is the daddy. Yes, the mommy, actually, I didn't bring her because she is pregnant again.
Oh.
And so I didn't want to move her around too much. So I want to be very careful with her. But, so these are the little babies, and we haven't named them yet, so we have to come up with names for them at some point. So maybe if you guys think of some good names, you can give us some suggestions. Okay? Want to think of some suggestions for the names? That'll be a fun project for you guys, okay? Sound good, Harper?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Then there's, so that's the babies, and I keep them in this cage. The parents, they stay in a big room with big trees, branches all over for them to climb on, but they're much larger, and because the babies are still so small, I keep them in this cage and keep them protected so that they don't get hurt by the big snakes. The big snakes are a bit heavy and they might crawl on them and hurt them too much. So would you like to see the daddy snake?
Yeah.
Yeah? So this snake has a name. His name is Wasabi. Wasabi, that's right. He's very, very nice. Let's see here. This is the way that they like to stay on branches and coil up on branches like this during the day, because these snakes are what's called nocturnal. Does anybody here know what nocturnal means?
Yeah.
What does it mean? What does it mean? You know?
No, it's not a puppet.
So nocturnal means that the snakes like to sleep during the day, and then at night is when they wake up. When the sun goes down, it gets dark, that's when the snakes wake up. That's when they move all around. So during the day, when the sun's out, they just sit here on the branch like this and coil up. And this is the way that they like to sleep. Just wrapped up like this on the branch. That's when they're most comfortable. So right now he's really happy. That means he's really happy. He's just coiled up on the branch like this. But at night, when they wake up, they move around inside the cage, and that's when they go looking for food. So in the wild, where these snakes live, they live in the jungle, and they live their whole life up in the trees. The whole life up in the trees. And so if they live in the trees, what kind of things do you think they eat if they live in the trees their whole life. What do you think a snake would eat up in the trees? Any ideas?
Non.
No.
Est-ce que vous voulez bien penser à réfléchir? Qu'est-ce que mange?
What kind of animals might a snake find up in the trees?
Oui,
Bunnies.
Bunnies?
Peut-être.
No. Well, yeah.
Squirrels.
I would bet that one of the snakes would eat a bunny, but most those bunnies don't go up in the trees too high. So
Say in quoi?
Penguin.
penguins? Well, you know, that's getting closer. That's a good guess.
Julien, quoi?
What's that?
Squirrels.
Squirrels? You know, that is a very good idea, and that is right. They would eat squirrels. They would like to eat a squirrel.
Vas-y, Julien. Bella, qu'est-ce que tu veux dire? Qu'est-ce qu'il y a dans les
Yes, yes, so they do. Up in the trees, they live in big trees.
Allez, vas-y, ça va.
And the water collects in the trees, and that's where they drink the water. That's right.
Oui, vas-y.
And the owl.
You know, you're right, birds.
Oh.
Birds. So these snakes like to eat birds. That's what they do. They, not really, not really. So what they do, typically at night, these snakes don't have great sense of smell. So they don't really need to see very well at night. So around their mouth, right here, they have these special sensors that sense heat. And so when a bird flies by, they can sense the body heat from the bird, and they'll grab it out of the air. And so what they do at night is they just sit there hanging down from branches in the trees and waiting for animals to come by who can't see as well as them at night. And then they grab them and eat them. So they might eat bats, and they might eat squirrels, and they might eat birds,
Or owls.
or monkeys, small monkeys. You might
I
get.
was going to tell you something. Owls could see in my house.
That's true. Owls can see well at night too. That's right. They're awake at night. But it's one of the things, because these snakes are catching things in the air that fly around, they have to have really long teeth. And their long teeth can go through the feathers and grab the birds. So this kind of snake, this kind of boa constrictor, has the biggest teeth of any boa constrictor out there. So it's like really, really big teeth. So that's it. It uses those to catch things with.
So when you had the babies, they can eggs?
How long do they take to get big?
No, I think
Did they have eggs? They lay eggs?
Oh, when they're born. So
Yes.
that's a great question. So most snakes, when they're born, most snakes lay eggs, and then the eggs hatch kind of like a chicken egg, and the babies come out. But for these snakes, boa constrictors, they have live babies when they're born. So they come out just like we did. They're alive when they come out of the mother, and they're climbing around, they're crawling around right away.
So and how big is the baby when it's born?
So when the baby is born, let's see. Harper, can you hold your finger like this? Can you hold your finger like
Allez,
this?
montre-toi.
Yeah, so that's about how thick around baby snake is when it's born. And it's probably about 12 inches long.
Already? Yeah. What the color is red?
And the color is red. So this one is orange, and they're a little even deeper red.
And they change the color after?
Yes. And the reason is because the babies, when the babies are born,
Julien, est-ce que tu as pas de
they live in the jungle, and they don't stay way up top high in the trees like the adults do. The babies stay down in the plants that are lower to the ground, and in the jungle, and those plants are darker colors, so when they're red, they can't be seen very well in those lower plants. And a lot of the animals that live on the ground in the jungle, they have little tunnels that go through these plants on the ground. And so those baby snakes hang out in those plants, and they try to get their food that way, close to the ground. And then as they get bigger, they change color. They're big enough to climb way up into the trees and start catching their food that way.